Wow. It's been 11 months since I even attempted to even think about doing a podcast. It's been an interesting year. It's been one of those that I think whenever I kind of had the idea of coming back to doing this, I was kind of nervous, simply because of the fact that this is something that really means a lot to me. Welcome to your resident Black Spider-Man, Lily. Even that entrance line, I haven't really said it even to myself, like in a joke or in passing or anything like that. But I really wanted to bring back things that brought me joy, being able to interact with you guys, and just really have fun, man. I think, and this will lead me to my question that I've posed to everyone. But how has my year been? 2024. This was an interesting year in many ways. I think it's one of those that, and I think for a lot of us, probably on paper, probably can't complain. And I know that sounds like quite what's the word? I can't think of the word. Contradictory. There it is. English, yo. In the sense that for a lot of us, this may have been a hard year, and even for me, if you've been around me and or you've just been around just people close to me, that it's been a tough year for a lot of my friends. Not even long ago, like last month, I had a very good friend of mine lose his dad to a battle with cancer, a very, very, not even a long battle, like just over a year. Another one of my very good friends lost grandparents, both in the span of a year, very suddenly as well. So to kind of go through that, it was quite heartbreaking as a friend, just to be there and to see it, So yeah, man, it's but on a personal level, I think. But on the flip side of that, before I even get to me, on the flip side of that, I've had friends who have struggled to fall pregnant, finally fall pregnant, and now with twins. I've had friends get new job opportunities. I've had people close to me just, get new jobs and all that kind of stuff, and just experience new things. And yeah, it's been as a spectator, this year has been like such an interesting up and down thing, because on one hand it's been really good for a lot of people, on another it's been really tough, and I think naturally that's just how these things go. But for me personally, I think, how would I describe 2024 in a sentence? I think that's how I posed the question. But I think just in general, how would I describe it for people, or for myself? You know what, I think I would describe it as a year that was quite as a transitional year. And I know I think for some reason I feel like that was my thinking last year. Every year I try and have a theme for the year. I know it's a bit cliche. I always put it in my bio on Instagram, and just to be like artsy and cool, I put it in Arabic, just so it looks really dope. This year it was actually a phrase. I can't take credit for this. It was a phrase that I heard in an AD interview with John Baptiste, the musician. Him and his wife were giving a tour of their place. Those really cool videos on YouTube, and he said that their theme for the year was family and freedom. And I was like, and I watched that interview in December of 2023, and I was like, I'm gonna steal that. That is my word for the year. And for some reason, I don't know why, I thought that would be something that could work for me. But the reason why was because I really felt like I wanted to reclaim my time this year. I had joined a new agency, and as much as I was enjoying it, like on many levels, it was just keeping me very, very busy, and it just started to bleed into like my normal life in terms of like my thinking and my psyche. I'm generally not a fan of agency life. I, as a creative, I don't really encourage it personally. Having done it, if you've listened to previous episodes, Anthem podcast episodes and all that, you'll know that I went through like quite a rough period at an agency back in 2022, and that was, it was, I mean, not the greatest environment, and so it probably was never going to work out, but there was a part of me that like really wanted to give it a go again, and I did, and I was like, as much as I was succeeding in many regards, made myself quite invaluable, made myself quite useful in many ways. It just, a lot of that just isn't worth it for me if I'm, for one, not getting paid what I would like, and also if the output of time and effort that I'm putting in isn't being matched and reciprocated either by remuneration or just even like a healthy environment. I'm not interested in staying there, and by no means am I implying that where I've been have been, toxic or like horrible or anything like that. But they haven't been great, so that's why I'm like, I'm gonna just go out on my own a little bit. So I've subsequently started to freelance again, and that's been going fine. It's been going well. But I really do feel like I want to pivot careers altogether. I mean, a lot of people know me now as a photographer, and can I be honest with all of you, like that even annoys me, because it's like my biggest thing in life is I hate being boxed in and labeled. It took me years for people to no longer see me as just a graphic designer, and now it feels like I need to take years for people to not just see me as a photographer. As much as photography is my favorite medium of creativity and expression at the moment, it may not be forever. And even so, even if it is forever, like I don't want that to be like my defining label. Like I want, like if people acknowledge, like recognize that I'm good at it, sure, and I'm fine with that. But there's so much more to me than just Garo the photographer, And I feel like that's what I want to take into the new year, just kind of reestablishing myself in a sense, just on a personal level, but also just kind of finding that stability in other ways. And hence why I feel like I need to pivot my career again and try something completely different. Another reason why I resigned, just because I feel like I needed to avail myself for God to open those doors, and slowly but surely I can see and feel like things are turning. I have a real peace about how the future looks, and I'm excited. I really am. Hope it's answered soon, but you know how these things go. I mean, those of us who have a bit of a faith base, whatever faith base you have, we all know that sometimes our prayers aren't answered either in the way that we want or in the time that we want. So it's always like a bit of a thing. So how would I describe the year, man? As a transitional year. It's been a transitional year. I feel like I've almost rediscovered myself, rediscovered my passions, figured out what I want my life to look like. I want to start a family relatively soon. I feel like I'm in that space where, that's what I want. And I think there was a point in me that was like, I really wanted the riches. I wanted to be successful. And sure, maybe these things will find me still, hopefully. But even if they don't, I'm so content and I'm so chilled. So yeah, I'm happy with however God wants to use me in these situations. So yeah, that's me. But this isn't about me. It's about you guys. Tell me how your year has been.
First of all, as today is election day here in the US, I wanted to take a moment to say we've come full circle. A full 4 years. Isn't that crazy? And I'm just as stressed out today as I was 4 years ago. So 2024 has been a year of self-discovery, not necessarily in the most rose-colored way, but because it's been the year that I've sat down to unpack things that I've been dealing with my whole life for the first time, which means this year has actually been very difficult, because I've had to sit down to unpack things because they blew up in my face. I this I'm very comfortable with this now, so this isn't, to me it doesn't feel super heavy, but I started off the year having developed an eating disorder, and that put me in a very, very dark place. About halfway through the year, or in April, I got a therapist, and I've been able to work through that. I no longer deal with the eating disorder directly, but I've been taking time. I'm still in therapy months later, still figuring out other aspects of me. And it's been hard, but it's been informative, and I've been learning about myself and giving myself time to process my past and my feelings and my thoughts and many, many experiences, both positive and negative, trying to understand myself more. So that has consumed most of my year. Not just finding out who I am, discovering what Elena means, but also where I fit or where I'm trying to go in the world, which I don't have an answer to yet, but the year's not over. And even when the year does end, my therapy sessions will probably not. So it's a continuous journey, but I would say that that's what's been the biggest part of this year. I've had a lot of changes happen, socially, academically, professionally, within my family, even an extended family, culturally, linguistically, physically, for better or for worse. It's been a year very heavy on all of that. But I must say, processing is a part of progression. So even though it may seem like I'm not necessarily moving forward past all of the problems, the struggles that I have, recognizing them, being able to assign them labels and describe them is a form of progress. So I am acknowledging that as well.
Hey, my friend. Hope you're doing good. I think the word for this year, or the word that resonates with me this year, is unexpected. And I say unexpected because I did not expect myself to be out of a job almost 3 months now, moving into a smaller place and adapting well, actually. But unexpected in the sense that, like I said, not knowing that I would be without a job. But also in the season, I think it's taught me to lean in more on God, lean into your community, have a community that prays with you, that is there for you, that checks in on you. But I think two big revelations for me is Jacob wrestling with God. And I think for each and every one of us that, has a relationship with God, that strives to be better, there needs to be a wrestle with God, and there needs to be a limp in each person's walk. Because that limp shows, that you've had the wrestle with God, and you can only get better from there. And I think the second revelation is, and it's for me personally, is that sometimes your provision is not God's provision. Sometimes it's just your daily bread. Sometimes it's the bread from heaven, the manna from heaven. And in those seasons, we need to praise God and recognize what's happening in that season. And I think having that awareness in that season is quite important. And yeah, man, I think for myself and Nicole, it's just also depending on each other more. It's it's figuring out what does it look like in a marriage, when one's not working and one needs to, and you're moving into a different place, all these moving parts happening at the same time. It's yeah, it's been a roller coaster, but knowing that God's hand is on these things, there's a peace that we will never understand. um yeah, so I think that's my word, and sort of my encouragement is, in your difficult season, seek God and seek what it is that you need to do in that waiting room period. So yeah, that's my 5 rand and not my 2 cents.
Hi, my name is Megan, and if I had to describe my year to you so far, I would definitely say that it's been one of the most challenging years. There have been so many aspects of my life that have changed, and although the change is for the better, the process of things changing has been really hard. I think now on the other side of it, I can reflect and see that there's been a lot of growth, which has been amazing. But at the same time, I think this year has been characterized by a mentality of living from day to day. And now I feel like the Lord is leading me into a space where I can dream again. And that makes me feel really hopeful for the rest of this year and leading into next year. But yeah, it's been a hard one, and God is still faithful and he's still constant, but he's definitely given me a deeper revelation of grace, which he knew I needed. And I don't know what I would have done if it wasn't for the people that he surrounded me with, because wow. Yeah, that's me.
2024 was a wake-up call for me. Let me keep it a stack. I absolutely loved it. From the moments when I was so low, it felt like I'm never going to be up again, to the moments when I was so up, it felt like nothing will ever bring me down. This year was fantastic. I got to learn a lot about myself. I got to learn a lot about God. If I sat here and explained everything that I've been through, you would sit here and ask me, how on God's earth did you even love this year? This year seemed like it just slapped you in the face. And it did. I got slapped in the face multiple times where they said, yeah, I got shown left, right, and center. But I'll be honest, the wins that I got this year definitely by far triumphed all the odds that I faced. So yeah, this year it was just absolutely beautiful. I loved it. I learned a lot. I won a lot. I lost a lot. And honestly, I'm ready for more. Bring on the owls, bring on the dubs, bring it all. I'm pretty grateful for the year that I had. So yeah, shout out 2024. What a fantastic year. And peace be with you for the rest of your time.
I think looking back on 2024, it has definitely been one of the best years that I've had, but also one of the toughest years where I've learned a lot. Yeah, it's been one of the best years in terms of friendships and community, and just the people that God has surrounded me with are absolutely amazing. That inspire me so much, and it's something that I've actually been praying for a really long time. And just seeing the friendships that God has placed me in and the people that God has placed around me has been really cool to see those prayers being answered. And yeah, just such amazing people that just bring me so much joy. And yeah, that's been really amazing this year. I've also learned just the importance of being intentional with the time that I have and with the people that I'm surrounded with. Yeah, just how important it is to be intentional. I think that's just because I've realized how scary it is that this was my second last year of school, and I don't know what after school is going to look like. So just how important it is to be intentional with the time that I have now, with the people that I'm with now. I think it's also been one of the toughest years where I felt emotionally exhausted this year, and also a lot of like academic pressure that like school has put on me, but I've also put on myself. But something that God has actually shown me this year, and what I've learned is that I want God's will for my life, not my own will for my life. I want what God wants for me, not what I think I want. Because the things that He has in store for me are so much greater than the things that I think I want. And I'm excited to see what those things are. And that has kind of taken the pressure off everything being on me, in terms of especially like with the marks that I need this year that I'm applying to varsity with, and just that it's not on me, because it's not, God's will be God's will. And that has been something that He's been showing me this year. I've also learned this year that it's okay to ask for help, and it's okay to not be okay. That was really deep. But I've learned like through experiences at school that it's okay to ask for help, and that there's strength in showing weakness, and that there's actually strength in asking for help. Because I can be a little bit of a perfectionist, and I like to be in control sometimes. Things that I've been working towards for a really long time that God always sees, but the things that I've been working towards, people have started to see, and the hard work and the commitment that I've put in has been rewarded, and that was really fulfilling and really, really cool to see this year.
So how has my 2024 been? Phew, what a year. I would like to say this year has been a year of like starting new things, going to places that I've never been before, eating a lot of food. Oh my gosh, eating a lot of food. This year I ate a lot of food. That one is like top of the list, but maybe, top of the list. But above all things, like, God has been great. God has been great. There's nothing, he didn't change this year from like 2023. He's still the same God, and we praise Him for that. So that's how my 2024 has been, in a nutshell.
Describe my 2020. So how would I describe my 2024? It's actually so crazy that this question is being asked, because I had a chat with a friend about this, and she asked me how I would describe my 2024, and I just said that there was just a lot of emotional work that was done, like a lot of internal work, which was very uncomfortable, difficult to say the least, but I wouldn't have it any other way, simply because I rather do the work now than do the work when, like, later in life, when I have more responsibilities and life just needs more of my attention, to say, and two, or be in a situation where I don't do the work, then I end up bleeding on others because I didn't work on unhealed wounds. So that's my 2024 in a nutshell. Just a lot of deep emotional work that had to be done, and that is still being done.
Hello, my name is Tanaka, and listen, asking me to describe my 2024, it requires me to rewind and go back to the very beginning. And I would say at the beginning I was very hopeful, but as months went on, I think life really comes at you fast, and the things that you were hoping to happen don't happen, and you get disappointed and you start questioning what you're meant to be doing with your life. And that's exactly where I was. And it's so funny because you probably thought, well, I thought when I was younger that at this age I would have my whole life figured out, but I'm currently 26 years old and I literally still don't know what I want to do with my life, besides maybe being a cute little housewife, But in terms of career aspirations, I really didn't know where I was meant to be headed. And a lot of the guidance that I sought from God. And, I kind of took the disappointment that I received as redirection. And so looking at where I am right now, I'm now employed, working in advertising. You couldn't have told me I would be working in advertising. Like, I wouldn't believe you, because that's not even what I studied, but I'm really and truly blessed. It's been the best thing ever. And it's such a contrast to how the year started, from having to interview with a certain company for 8 months, and now this job I got in a week. It's just like, really, like, there's still time for redemption. Sometimes we think, oh, the year is ending and I'll try again next year, but it happened for me within the last few months of the year, and I'm very grateful for this year. I think this year I really learned to not rely on myself, because I really don't know what I'm doing, and I'm okay with not knowing what I'm doing. I think it makes life exciting, the unknown of it all. But I would say that 2024 has been a blessing, friendship-wise, in terms of family and relationships with them, and in terms of my career. And so I really and truly feel blessed, and I'm keen and excited to see what 2025 has in store.
Okay. Hey, this is Louise. 2024 has been a whirlwind of growth and discovery for me. I think my main lesson in this year has been rejection is redirection. Definitely, because things have not gone the way that I thought they would go, but in turn, they have still been beautiful, and who knows what would have happened if they didn't go that way, or if they went a different way, So that's my main takeaway from 2024. I've also gotten way back into my art and painting, and I love that so much. It's a very intrinsic part of me. Although I don't take photos as much as I used to, but now I'm doing more of painting, which I love, and I had stopped for a while because of school. But yeah, it's been interesting and beautiful, and so many lessons have been learned. As I said earlier, main one is rejection is redirection. Yes, that's all I have to say for today.
Thank you to everyone who contributed in this episode today. I know it was a bit of a shorter one than usual, but I thought, just to get back into this space has been a bit of a journey, and I don't know if I mentioned it in my opening monologue, but just feeling a bit of imposter syndrome in terms of this whole podcasting space, and wanting to go back into it and doing episodes again, doing content and all that. And even when saying all of this, I know as a creative, as a photographer, whatever it is, I often feel the pressure to dabble in other mediums just to feel relevant. And, with Instagram being such a prominent and large platform, for me to be like, I need to do reels, I need to do YouTube, and being like, I actually just don't care about that stuff. Like, I don't care about making videos, I don't care about making reels. But then there's the part of me that's like, man, if I don't do that, will any of this, reach the amount of people that I would like it to reach, all that kind of stuff. These are the questions that play in my mind quite often. But on a similar note, or on a different note, I should say, I think it's also important for me to just be happy with what I produce, and that's what this was. So thank you again to everyone who contributed. I appreciate you all. You all are amazing. And yeah, man, hopefully this is the start of more regular content, definitely more regular voicemail episodes like this, just because for me they're quite easy and production wise not too hard, and can get them done quite quick. The difficult thing is just waiting for people to send voice notes. It's quite funny actually. You ask someone and then like 3 weeks go by and it's like, hey, don't forget. But then throughout that whole 3 weeks we've sent each other multiple voice notes about everything else. It's so funny how life works, but I understand people are busy. And this is something that you can't just do without really thinking about it. You have to really, especially the questions sometimes do require a lot of like reflection. And I'm someone who can sort of just rattle it off, off the cuff. But then at the same time, it sometimes doesn't feel like authentic. So I totally understand when people need to take a few moments just to think about the question and kind of be like, actually, let me think about my 2024. And then you start to unpack and realize like, wow, it was a good year. Or, wow, it actually wasn't that great. And sometimes in that realization, it becomes quite uncomfortable and difficult to speak about that stuff. So I totally understand and this is just to people who I did ask for previous episodes or even this one. Definitely no hard feelings on my side, and totally understand, sometimes these things are difficult to speak about and to reflect about. So yeah, that being said, hope you guys are all well as we approach the end of the year 2024. I don't like dating episodes, but it is currently the beginning of December as I'm recording this ending part. And I really do hope that this year was a good one for you, man. Proud of everyone in the space, in the individual spaces. Proud of my friends, proud of people I've met. I've gotten to get to know such amazing people this year. Shout out to my man Barrett, who contributed on this episode. Him and I were always kind of intrinsically connected because of mutual friends for the past 2 years, but never really spoke to each other until I want to say 4 or 5 months ago. And now I've just blossomed into an incredible friendship that I'm thoroughly grateful for. Yeah, man, it's just in the moments in this year, 2024, where life is not always the easiest, having to see friends deal with things, having friends move to other countries, missing friends who have moved. It's difficult when you go through things. My uncle passed away this year, my mom's brother. Work was an interesting thing. And just kind of going into the new year where it's there's a level of uncertainty still that I'm kind of facing, but then just to be whatever comes, whatever happens, I'm grateful, and I'll just take it. I'll take it as it comes. Grateful for specific people, of course. To name a few, Bianca Werner, who I'm eternally grateful for. Some of my very close friends. Shout out to the Tates, Jabu, Tumi, Jordy, Dan, Cam, Panasha, the OG art dealers. Always appreciate you guys highly, even though I haven't really seen a lot of them in a while. But yeah, man, shout out to Jason and Daniel, really good friends of mine. Man, everyone, I am just very grateful for all of you who've played such a big part in my life. Guys who contributed on this episode as well. Thank you so much. I know it's not always easy to reflect on the year, and I am very grateful. Thank you for taking the time as well to send it. And I know like it probably is a bit of a disruption as well, so I do appreciate it. But yeah, without going on a ramble, this is probably only the 3rd episode I put out this year, and it's fine. I'm not mad at myself, but I definitely want to try my best to produce more. So shout out to all of you, man. Shout out to everyone who's always like asking when the next art dealers is coming, and I'm like, guys, I don't know, man, because I really don't know, but I appreciate you all. Shout out to all of you, man. I love you all. It's your Resident Black Spider-Man. It's Karam Lili. Peace out.